There are moments when people reveal what they value without realizing they're doing it. For my mother, it happened beneath crystal chandeliers, in a ballroom filled with polished marble floors, live string music, and 47 carefully selected guests attending her partner's annual Veterans Charity Gala. The invitations had gone to business leaders, retired officers, philanthropists, and a handful of active duty military members. I was there because the foundation supported military families. Not because my mother had asked me to come, she hadn't. I accepted the invitation anyway. I arrived wearing my formal dress uniform, not to make a statement, but because it was the required attire for service members representing our branch. After nearly 20 years in uniform, dressing correctly had become second nature. It wasn't about pride, it was about respect. For the occasion, the institution, and the people who served beside me. My mother spotted me almost immediately. She smiled the way people do when they're about to tell what they think is a harmless joke. "Oh, there you are." She slipped her hand around her millionaire partner's arm and turned toward a nearby circle of guests. "My daughter," she announced with a laugh, "still thinks she's a colonel." The group chuckled politely. Someone added, "Well, confidence is important." Her partner smiled without saying anything. I simply returned the smile. Correcting strangers has never been part of military training. Sometimes silence tells you more about a room than words ever could. The conversation moved on, but I noticed something unusual. Across the ballroom, an elderly man wearing a simple dark suit had stopped walking. His glass remained suspended halfway to his lips. He wasn't looking at my mother. He was staring at the small row of ribbons above my left pocket. His expression changed from curiosity to disbelief. For the next 20 minutes, I spoke with volunteers, listened to stories from military spouses, and admired the photographs displayed around the ballroom. They weren't pictures of medals or ceremonies. They showed exhausted teams building bridges, delivering medical supplies, and helping families after disasters. Those were the moments I recognized. Leadership rarely looks dramatic while it's happening. Eventually, the Master of Ceremonies invited all current and former military personnel to stand for recognition. As I rose, several retired officers exchanged quick glances. One quietly nodded, another seemed to recognize my name tag. My mother's partner noticed the shift in the room before she did. He leaned toward her. "Do they know your daughter?" "I doubt it," she replied casually. "She's always been serious." Before he could answer, the elderly gentleman began walking directly toward me. Conversation softened. Even those who didn't recognize him sensed his presence. When he reached me, he stopped. For a long second, he simply looked at me. His voice came out barely above a whisper. "I never thought I'd get another chance to thank you." I stood a little straighter. "General." He shook his head gently. "No speeches tonight." Only then did several guests recognize him. A retired four-star general, whose leadership had become the subject of military academies and leadership seminars. The ballroom grew remarkably quiet. My mother looked genuinely confused. The general turned toward the audience. "I apologize," he said, "but I owe this officer something I've delayed for far too many years." He looked back at me. "Most people know the official reports." He smiled faintly. "They don't know the people behind them." No one interrupted. Years earlier, during an overseas humanitarian evacuation following a natural disaster, his convoy had become trapped after infrastructure collapsed. Communications failed. Several rescue attempts had been forced back by worsening conditions. Our team was assigned to search for survivors. The mission wasn't about heroics. It was about making disciplined decisions under impossible circumstances. He continued quietly. "I had accepted that rescue might not arrive in time. I remembered that day differently. Not because it was extraordinary, because everyone on that team had done exactly what they were trained to do. We assessed risks, adapted plans, trusted each other. No one worked alone." The general took a slow breath. She coordinated the evacuation after several senior leaders became separated. His eyes glistened. When I could no longer walk, she refused to leave anyone behind. He paused then, with visible emotion. He said the words that transformed the entire room. She carried me out alive. No applause followed immediately, only silence, not uncomfortable silence, reflective silence, the kind that appears when assumptions quietly fall apart. My mother lowered her eyes. Her earlier joke wasn't cruel in her mind. It had simply come from years of believing success was measured by visible wealth, impressive titles, and public recognition. She had never asked what my work actually involved. After the program ended, she found me standing near one of the photo displays. For several moments, neither of us spoke. Finally, she sighed. I spent so much time trying to understand successful people, she said softly, that I forgot to understand my own daughter. There wasn't much to add. Some conversations don't need perfect answers. Her partner approached a moment later. I judged you in less than 30 seconds, he admitted. That's not something I'm proud of. I smiled. We all make quick assessments. The important part is whether we're willing to revise them. The general joined us one last time before leaving. He shook my hand, then looked toward the photographs lining the ballroom walls. People remember medals, he said. I remember teammates. As I watched him walk away, I realized that was the only recognition that had ever truly mattered. Uniforms can be misunderstood, titles can be underestimated, appearances can invite assumptions. But character has a way of introducing itself eventually, and when it does, it rarely needs to raise its voice.